Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my current favorites. I haven't posted a favorites video in a long time and I haven't posted a video in 2 months. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details, there's just been a lot going on, but I do want to mention before we get started the new background. So as you guys can see, I've kind of got like a blurry background going on now and I have a new lens. Also, if the lighting is a little bit off in the next few videos, please just give me time to adjust it because again, this is my first time filming on this angle with a new lens and some new lights. So yeah, I do apologize about that, but I am going to get started, but I do want to start out with all the books that you're seeing here. So like I said, it's been a while since I filmed a video, so it's actually been a while since I've read these two series right here, so I want to make sure to mention them. But the first one I do want to actually mention is Rebel. This is, I'm not even finished with it, I'm almost done, but this is by Marie Lu. This is her 4th book in the I guess Legend series. It's Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. It was a series way back and then she brought this back this year, coming back to the series. She said this is going to be the final book, which is so sad. But we actually got to meet her, go to a little event in Washington, D.C. Me and my sister got to do a signing and have a photo with her. So it was just so nice because like I said, I love this series, but I also love her Young Elite series. That one's really good as well. So it was just really nice because I've got to check off a few things off my bucket list this year, and getting to meet her has been on my bucket list. So yeah, I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything in case you guys haven't read this, but if you are a fan of the younger series, even, you know, from several years back, I still feel like you should read this. This isn't focused around June's perspective. This is focused around Daniel and his brother. So it is a little bit different, but you do get to see June in here. So that is still really nice. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to say too much because I know it's just like a newer release. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. All right, and next is A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So this is by far my favorite series ever of all time that I've ever read. And like, she hasn't dropped any like hints or anything about when the next one's coming out, so I'm like really bummed out. But this one is A Court of Frost and Starlight. So she basically said that this is kind of supposed to be bridging the gap between the first 3 and then her continuing on to the series. This is a little bit more laid back, not as much action, but I did really enjoy this. However, the first 3 are amazing. So the first one is a little bit like, I love the first one as well, but the second one is by far my favorite. It's hard to talk about books without ruining them, or like, you know what I'm saying, like giving away spoilers, so I don't want to mention too much, but I'm just gonna say how she writes like the chemistry between 2 specific characters is so amazing. But what I love about her is, and her writing is, even in like a Throne of Glass series, she makes you love not just like 3 main characters or just 2 main characters. She makes you love like every single character, and it's like she makes sure that someone can relate to each character. I feel like when I read these books, there's always one character that you can relate to, and I love that about, like I said, her writing and everything. She's actually coming out, I'm not sure if it's like a new series, I haven't read too much about it, this coming spring, Crescent City I think it is, so excited to check that out. But she's, like I said, she's such an amazing author. And then it's J Maas, if I haven't said. And then The Throne of Glass, which I won't even pick up here. So you've got a total of 8 books, but Assassin's Blade, I'm not sure if she counts that in the Throne of Glass series or not, but I think that you need to read that book because that book kind of affects some things that happen on throughout the series, especially some things that happen in the 6th book, Empire of Thorns, because Tower of Dawn kind of switches to another person's point of view, which is fine. It's all good. The whole entire series is good. Again, she makes you, there's a character that every single person will relate to. She's also someone that makes you love villains, or at least there's 2 villains in here that I really like, but then there's also 2 that I really hate. So, but it's really good. It's an amazing series. If you're someone who, you know, enjoys reading, it's amazing and I would highly recommend it. Now, getting on to the makeup stuff, the stuff that you guys probably want to know about. So, I want to start off by talking about a primer. This is the Bobbi Brown Primer Plus Mattifier. If you've seen my Sephora haul before I went to California in May, I purchased this and I love it. It reminds me very similar to the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer in Light, in the sense that it really helps with the longevity of my makeup. This, I think, has a little bit more of a, like, I'd say smoothing quality, kind of like fills in my pores a little bit better than the Smashbox one. I love this one. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but it is really good, so I'd recommend you guys check it out. And then I actually have one foundation. So I actually have several foundations. Like I have the Pretty Vulgar foundation, the Ofra foundation, so many foundations that I have used once, or like I haven't even tried the Ofra one. And it's just, again, I've been really busy, but I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things. This is the Soap and Glory Kick-Ass All Day Wear Foundation. I did a review of this and some comparison swatches. If you guys want to check that out, I'll make sure to link that down below. But this is an amazing foundation. And when I first tried it, it was a little bit, like I said, you'll see that review, it's in the summer. I do have to work with this to get it where I like it. Like I gotta make sure I set this with a powder my entire face, because if I don't, I definitely look quite a bit oily. But it wears so nicely in the sense that like it doesn't start breaking up on my face. It looks really smooth. It is a more medium coverage foundation, but I mean, you guys can see I have a little bit left. But when Sephora just did their 20% off, I purchased a Soap and Glory foundation. Again, you guys will see that. I'm just waiting for the rest of my Sephora VIB stuff to get here. So, alright, next I have another product that I guess you'd say skincare and makeup. This is the Clinique Super City Block Oil-Free Daily Face Protector. This has SPF 40 in it. This I was using over the summer. If you are someone who doesn't like the feel of sunscreen, like I don't know anybody who likes the feel of sunscreen on the face, but this, I've never found any kind of tinted moisturizer or tinted SPF that doesn't feel like it's got SPF in it. Like millions of them say it doesn't feel like it, but it does. This still does, but I don't find it to be as bad. But what I like about this is it does have a slight tint. So what I'll do is I'll just apply it on my hands and apply it on my face, and it has quite a tacky feel, which makes it great for going in with the next product I'm going to mention and buffing it in, and it looks beautiful. But I really like this, that tackiness, if you will put like a powder over top of this, really grabs onto that powder and gives you the most flawless, beautiful finish. And this was a huge saver for me this summer. And right now I currently just put this underneath any foundation that I'm wearing. Again, just make sure that you even wear SPF in the winter time, even though I hate going out at all this time of the year. Next I'll do a concealer, and then I want to talk about two powder foundations. So this is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer in Porcelain. You guys know I talk about this several times, but I like to, I guess, mention favorites that like I'm actually still using, you know. But this is good. If you want a nice medium coverage concealer, this is a great from the drugstore. It's just a couple bucks, and I do really love it. I've already got a back of this, so. Alright, so now on to two powders I want to talk about. So the Clinique sunscreen I was talking about, I go over it with this Laura Geller powder. This, as you guys can see, I've hit pan on. This, I take like a buffing foundation brush and I'll swirl it in there. And then where I've got that Clinique foundation, I'll take it and buff it in there. And that grippiness from that Clinique tinted moisturizer, not foundation, I'm sorry, it just grips onto this powder so well. And this powder is great on its own. I'll take my sponge, like I'll have my foundation on, and then I'll take my sponge and dip it in here and just pat my foundation in, and it just looks beautiful. I really like this. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but it's really nice. This is in the shade Fair. It can be a little bit dark for me, especially since I have hardly any tan at all, because it's been super cold for the last, I'd say, a month. It's been pretty cold. We had like 90-degree days all of a sudden, and like the next day it was 40. It was crazy and it was cold. I hate it. The Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder, I have the shade Warm Light. So this again works a little bit better for me right now, because that one by Laura Geller, even though it says it's fair, it is quite dark. At least it does darken once you put it on the skin. But this is working a lot better for me right now. However, this doesn't give me as much coverage as the Laura Geller one does, but the Laura Geller one is a powder foundation. This is just like a setting powder. But again, I use my sponge with this. I just take my sponge and swirl it in here, and then I press it in the skin. That's how I like wearing my powders now. I just feel like, again, it just somehow that sponge and just pressing it in just helps it melt together. But this is just really nice. This is very similar to the MAC Studio Skin. I think I decluttered that one because I had a little bit left, but I kept this one. This one's really good. Mine looks funny because, as I mentioned before, because I know I've mentioned this, I actually had to scrape off that top layer to actually get any coverage to come off of this powder. But I do love this powder besides that. Alright, so next I'm going to mention two highlighters. The first one is by Lorac. This is in the shade Daylight. I rediscovered this and I am in love. This, like I said, is a formula that I feel like it's not like super wet. It does still kind of have that dry formula, but you get more of a stiff brush and you blend it into your like cheekbones, and it is so beautiful. It's like a foiled highlighter, you guys can see, but like in the most natural way. Like Lorac, I feel like is a very underrated brand. I feel like we forget about their products, but like I'm gonna get another Lorac product in here which I'm gonna mention, but I love this highlighter. I do have a lighter one. I can't remember the shade of that one, but this one works better for my skin tone, so I do like it. It looks really light on camera, but again, it might be my lighting. So, all right, and then next is from Wet n Wild. So I feel like everyone has talked about this, and it is really amazing. Super affordable. This is the Wet n Wild highlighter in the shade I'm So Lit. It looks like this. This is a loose highlighter, so it is pretty messy, but what I like to do is I like to actually, whatever's in the top, I'll take and I'll like swirl in my brush. I'll swatch it for you guys so you guys can see, but I will swirl it in my brush, tap it off, swirl in my brush, tap it off. So when I do apply it to my face, it's not like going everywhere, but this is such a beautiful highlighter. I mean, the difference, you guys are gonna see, like, this one right here has more of like a white gold, the Wet n Wild one undertone, and it is the highlighter that I do have on my cheeks today, just very lightly dusted. It does have some shimmer in it, so it can be like somewhat, I'd say, glittery. So if you don't like that, I mean, it's not bad, like, it's not bad at all. It's the highlighter that I used on my sister when I did her her makeup for Halloween. But yeah, I do really like it. I like the formula. It lasts a long time to be a drugstore highlighter as well, and even since it's a loose highlighter, it's really nice. Alright, so the last highlighter I have is also by Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Glow highlighter. This was limited edition. I'm not sure if you can still get it. This is in the shade Crystal High. This has a really like cool, if I can show you guys, like moussey texture. Kind of reminds you a little bit of like the ones from ColourPop, like where they feel wet. And I love this to actually put on my inner corners. I do not like this as an actual highlight. It's way too light for me. If you guys can see, it's like white. But I love this as an inner corner highlight. It's actually what I've got in my inner corners today. So don't like this as the actual highlight, but it's been like the palette I'm going to mention, I use this with all the time just to highlight my inner corners, even though it has a good inner corner highlighter. But this is just really, really pretty. I definitely had to mention it. And now on to some blushes and bronzers. So for blushes, this is the Lorac blush in the shade Tinge. I used to freaking love this blush. It's the blush I have on again today. It is like my I don't know why I stopped using this. Well, I guess I know why. It's because there's so many makeup launches. It's just like bam, 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 and you forget how good old products are. But I love this shade. I'm not sure if this is the same shade because I actually had a friend of mine to say that I think she was going to order it and she thought the color looked different. So I'm not sure, but I love this. And like they have the smoothest, see, make sure again, I feel like my lighting might be a little bit off, but you have like their matte are like so smooth. It's like they look matte but still at the same time like healthy to the cheeks. Again, Lorac blushes are amazing. I don't know why more people don't talk about Lorac in general because I feel like they have amazing stuff. All right, had to mention this. This is the Get Cheeky palette by Clinique. I think I may have actually mentioned this before, but I wanted to mention it again because I love this shade. Fortunately, I cannot tell you guys the shade name because they're not on the back. And the funny thing is, I actually ordered a palette from Ulta and it's the same way. The names are not on the back, so I don't know exactly what to tell you guys, but I have dipped into this one only a few times just because this one goes with every look. It's like the perfect like pinky. I'll swatch the one I'm talking about for you guys. Actually, it's very similar. Okay, it's very similar to the Lorac shade that I was talking about, except this one I do feel like has just a little bit more of like a maybe mauve-y undertone, whereas this one's kind of more like a true pink. But again, I do really love it. Really nice formula as well. There, between the Clinique blushes and the Lorac blushes, those are probably like my two favorite formula of blushes right there. Alright, so I do have a bronzer I want to mention. This is the Revolution Pro Sculpting Glow Contour and Highlight Palette in the shade Desert Sky. Is Revolution Pro Makeup Revolution and is I Heart Revolution Makeup Revolution, or are they just all completely separate brands? I don't know. It just confuses me, but I don't know. I hate the highlighter in here. The highlighter to me is quite chunky, but the bronzer I have used so much. You guys can see all around the edges how dirty it is. So the bronzer I have on today, I just find that they blend so well and like they last on the skin, which sometimes to me I feel like bronzer will be like one of the first things to fade, bronzer and blush. But like this lasts all day. It's beautiful, it's smooth, really, really like it. I highly recommend checking it out. And then we've got a few more makeup products, and then I do have some skin products I want to mention. This is the Pretty Vulgar Matte About It 147 Translucent Setting Powder. I actually got this in a BoxyCharm last year. So this is how long it's taking me to like go through my new drawer and try everything out. So this is a loose powder, so it does get kind of dirty. The only thing about using this to set underneath the eyes is I do feel like it darkens my concealer, so I do not like this to set underneath my eyes. However, I love this to set the rest of my face, especially where I get oily. It literally makes my skin look like so smooth in those areas. It keeps me matte for a really long time. And again, really, really nice. So, all right, next is the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. I got this, I think, during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. Is that when they had this or something? I can't remember, but I decided to try it again because when I was cleaning out my eyeshadow drawer, I realized that my paint pot was like really dried up and gunky, so I wanted to try this one again. And I forgot how much I like these. The only thing is that when my eyelids are oily in the summertime, the MAC paint pots do not help me at all. And like they give like a nice base and everything, but they don't make my eyeshadow last. I actually finished a primer that you guys are gonna see in my empties video, which I wanna film after this, that I really like. All right, eyeshadow palette. I know I've mentioned this probably 100 times, but I have to mention it just one last time. This is the Zodiac palette by ColourPop and Kathleen Lights. It's a collab they did together. I freaking love this palette. So today I'll just show you guys what I've got on my eyes really quick. I've got this shade right here, this warm shade, the Taurus in my crease, and then I've got the Virgo just very lightly in the outer corner. Then the lower lash line, I took the Virgo and the Taurus and blended it out, and then all over the lid I've got the Leo. I just feel like I constantly go back to this palette. I don't wear eyeshadow every single day, especially if I'm going to work or something. I usually won't even wear any makeup at all. Or just, you know what I'm saying, foundation, a little bit mascara, but I just love this palette. I love the colors. It's like when I have no idea what I want to wear on my eyes, I grab this palette. When I want something easy and quick, I grab this palette. It's just like everything just works so incredibly well. It's like I can create a very neutral look. I can create a very colorful look. I can do more of like a purple look. It's an amazing palette. I feel like it's not talked about enough. I really want to try out her So Jaded palette. But again, I'm trying not to buy as much makeup. But if it comes to Ulta, I will purchase it. I don't know. I don't like purchasing stuff from like ColourPop and things like that. I like a place where I can earn points like I can at Ulta. So, and you can at Sephora, but their point system sucks. So, all right. Few lip products and then we'll move on to skincare. So I actually have 3 lip liners. My lips have been so dry since, like I said, we've been down in like the 40s, getting down to like the 30s at night. It's really cold. And they have been so dry. Like this liquid lip on today has been like my lips feel like they're like crusty. But anyways, I have 3 lip pencils and I've been using lip pencils and then I'll usually put a gloss or a really creamy lipstick over top of it. Haven't really had any lipsticks that stuck out to me. I've just been going through my collection, but this is from Rimmel. This is the Lasting Finish 1000 Kisses Stay On a Lip Contouring Pencil in the shade Tiramisu. And let me just swatch this one for you. This is more of your like warmer nude, which I feel like a lot of people really like. Right there. It'll focus. Yep, there we go. And then these two, I actually got both of these in a BoxyCharm, and I am no longer subscribed to BoxyCharm. When they decided to go to $25, I just decided not to do it. I think it's like actually $27 because states were charging tax or something. But for me, like I said, I got a crappy wooden lip liner every single time in my box. And I absolutely hate the formula of these, but I love the color. So if you guys know of any like lip pencils that are this color and they have like a nice formula, let me know. This is the Botagraphically in the shade Barely There. And again, these are super rough, but I love the color. They're actually very similar to that Tiramisu by Rimmel. There it is right there. They look very similar, but there is a slight difference. And then this one is in the shade Bare by Larizzi. And wow, I can't get over. Okay, so these all look very similar. The Larizzi one, sorry, I'm the worst swatcher ever. The Larizzi one's a little bit more pink, but the issue that I have with these, it's like when I try to line my lips, it's like it's just balling up and stuff because it's so incredibly dry. But they do last a really long time. I guess it is where they're more of like a drier lip liner, but I do really like those. Then by Larizzi, this is a product that I actually really like. This is the shade Vibe. This is probably my favorite lip gloss since Buxom's White Russian years ago. I feel like lip gloss is kind of making a comeback. So this again is in the shade of Vibe, and this is like the perfect lip gloss for me. Like if I was gonna come out with a lip gloss shade or something, if I had to have a lip gloss shade for the rest of my life, this would be it. It's like the perfect nude. It's not super opaque, but it's not super sheer. It's like that perfect in between. It's not sticky, but it does still have a little bit of grip to it, so it lasts a long time on the lips. I love this. I'm definitely gonna have to repurchase some more of these. Alright, so I have to mention Aquaphor. This stuff is so amazing. Like if you are someone who has dry lips, a lot of people talk about using this when they go on Accutane because that's how good it is. And I was having like the worst cracked lips. Like I said, when it started getting cold, like it was like cracking so bad, like they were bleeding. And like I was like, oh my gosh, usually my Laneige lip mask, I put it on every night. It usually keeps my lips nice and plump, but this has been the only thing that has saved me. And like I said, I thought it was just me, but like everybody I talked to, they're like, oh my gosh, this year it's so much worse. They're like, and I'm like, try Aquaphor. It is amazing. Like I said, I have used so much of this already. I will repurchase this when I run out. It's really good. All right, so next is the Derma E Microdermabrasion Scrub. I have stopped going to my esthetician because she has moved to a different location and I just have not had a chance to get down there. So I've been doing like my own facials at home. I even got like a little facial steamer. But this stuff is so nice. I feel like it's very fine. It's not rough. It doesn't irritate my skin. I'll just usually take like my 2 fingers like this and I'll just kind of, you know, work it in throughout my face. And then I'll usually go in with like my moisturizer, oils, whatever I'm using. And I just feel like I see such a difference the next day. Like there's no peeling, no dryness on my skin. My skin is just like buttery, smooth, and soft. And like I said, I definitely give it all of this. I use this usually just about once a week though, because then I do have a mask that I use, and yeah, so, but this is really good. If you look on Ulta, it has really good reviews as well. So, all right, last product. So I have no idea how you say this brand, but I purchased this, I think back in, was it the spring VIB sale from Sephora? And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have used quite a bit of this. I really like this. So if you're someone who, this kind of reminds me, I wouldn't say of like a dry oil, but like when you put it on, it like absorbs into your skin really quickly. It doesn't leave that very heavy, like filmy, like oily feel on your skin. Like I said, I like to use this like if I go in before my moisturizer, but this has helped drastically, I feel like, with the scarring that I've had, like some acne scarring down here where I get like hormonal breakouts. This has helped tremendously with that, so I definitely would recommend this. I don't think it says anything when I read on Sephora about helping with scars, but like I've noticed, like, you know, you'll get darkness around like old scars and stuff. This has helped. Granted, I have been using this now, I feel like, for the last few months, and it might be like this with the other things that I'm doing, but it's like I started noticing a difference so quickly with this, so definitely try it out if you guys are looking for something, like I said, an oil like that. But yeah, that is it, guys. That is all of the favorites that I currently have. Hopefully by next month I'll have a lot more like newer favorites because I have got newer makeup. But if you guys have any new makeup and stuff you guys want me to try or review, please let me know, because hopefully now that things have calmed down, I can get back into filming on a regular basis. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.